AITA for ghosting my fiancée after she said that she wanted to explore things with her ex? My name is Nolan. I am 31 years old, a software sales director in Chicago. I was engaged to Riley for 6 months, but we had been together for 3 years total. Everything seemed solid, stable, just like one imagines when they believe they made the right choice. We had bought a house together 2 years ago. The wedding was scheduled for next spring, the future all mapped out. She is a graphic designer, hilarious, and until 2 weeks ago I swore I had won the lottery in love. We met at a networking event in River North. She was there promoting her freelance design work, and I was there because my company was sponsoring the event. She had an energy that attracted people, confident, creative, always with something interesting to say. We started talking about her most recent project, a rebranding for a restaurant in Wicker Park, and I found myself really interested in the creative process. Our first dates were incredible. She showed me design concepts, explained the psychology of colors, typography, and how every detail influenced how people perceive a brand. I had never thought that making something look simple took so much work. At the same time, I told her about my work in software sales, what it was like to build relationships with clients, understanding what they really need and not just what they think they need. Conversation flowed easily. She laughed at my bad jokes, and I loved that. I liked her artistic way of seeing the world. She took me to exhibitions at the Art Institute. I took her to Cubs games at Wrigley Field. It seemed balanced, as if each brought something unique to the relationship. The house we bought was in Lincoln Square, 3 bedrooms, nice garden, close to cool restaurants. We spent months choosing furniture, discussing wall colors in the calmest way possible. She wanted a very bold wall in the living room. I thought it was going to look exaggerated. We reached a middle ground that turned out incredible. I will never forget the day we received the keys, sitting on the floor of the empty living room, drinking champagne in coffee mugs because the glasses were still in boxes. "This is ours," she said, and the way she looked at me in that moment made me certain that I wanted to spend my life with her. The proposal came about 18 months after living together. I planned for months trying to find the perfect moment. She always talked about a small park near the lakefront where she drew when she needed inspiration. One Sunday morning I proposed that we go walk there. She sat on a bench pointing out details of the surrounding buildings, explaining how different construction eras created a visual timeline. It was there that I knew it was the moment, when she was being exactly who she is, passionate about what she loves. When I knelt down, her first reaction was to laugh. Not out of mockery, but surprise. "Are you serious right now?" she asked. Then she saw the ring, and her expression changed instantly. "Yes," she said before I finished the question. "Yes, definitely yes." We spent the following months planning the wedding for April. She was in her prime, organizing vendors, designing invitations, creating a whole visual identity for the event. I basically tried not to get in the way and pay for everything she needed. Watching her work was impressive. I managed to see how every little detail would become something beautiful in the end. Until last Saturday arrived. I was preparing breakfast, feeling good about life. Then Riley sat at the kitchen table with a serious expression I had never seen on her. "I need to talk to you about something," she said. "I have been thinking about us, about the wedding, and I think we should give each other some time." I thought it was cold feet or wedding stress. That is a lot to take in, especially dealing with family and some 50 different vendors. "What kind of time?" I asked. "Well, Brendan got in touch with me." Brendan, the ex from college, personal trainer, the guy she always said was too immature, but who curiously liked all her Instagram photos for the last 3 years. He said that he has been thinking about me, and to be honest, I have also thought about him. I think before getting married, I need to explore those feelings, to be absolutely certain. I stood there holding the coffee mug, trying to understand what I was hearing. My head looked for another interpretation, some way that conversation was not going exactly where it seemed to go. "You want to take a break in our engagement to be intimate with your ex?" It is not just about intimacy, Nolan. It is about having absolute certainty before assuming this commitment. Would you not prefer I resolve it now instead of asking myself my whole life during our marriage? The problem is that you could see on her face that the decision was already taken. That was not a conversation. It was her notifying me of her plan and expecting me to accept it. She had surely been thinking about that for weeks, maybe months. How long would that time be? Maybe a month. 2 at most. just to see if something still exists or if it is pure nostalgia. I owe it to both of us. I need to have total certainty. And what do I do while you explore that? You wait for me. Think about us too. Wait for her, as if I were a backup option. As if she could put me on the shelf while she tested with another person. As if our 3 years together, our house, our engagement, all the wedding planning, as if none of that had been enough to make her sure about me. That was where something clicked inside me. I had already lived a relationship where I was the safe harbor, plan B. While the other person decided what they really wanted, and I had sworn that I would never go through that again. When someone asks you to wait while they decide if they want you, the answer is already given. No, I said. No, forget time. Either we are committed to getting married, or it is over. If you want to explore with other people, then we break up now. Her face went pale. Nolan, that is not fair. I am trying to be honest with you instead of wondering forever or worse, cheating on you. And I am also being honest. I am not going to be anyone's plan B. She started to cry. She said that I was being inflexible, that she loved me, but needed to be certain, that Brendan had reappeared and that brought up old feelings she thought were resolved. That it was better to deal with that now than let it ruin our marriage later. But I had already learned one thing. When someone says they need to see if the grass is greener on the other side, it is because they already checked out emotionally from your relationship. The moment she answered Brendan, instead of cutting him off at once, she had already made the choice. I took the ring off my finger and put it on the table. The engagement is over. You cannot be serious. Very serious. Call Brendan. Tell him he won the little game he was playing. She kept crying, trying to explain that was not what she wanted, that she only needed to be certain, but I did not want to hear justifications anymore of why 3 years with me had not been enough for her to be certain of me. I spent the rest of the day calling vendors, the photographer, florist, caterer, and venue coordinator. Most were understanding. Some had a cancellation fee. I did not even care. My brother Spencer arrived that night to help me start undoing a life that belonged to 2 people. Are you sure about this? He asked while we put my clothes in boxes. She asked me to wait while she sleeps with another guy. What exactly should I be doubting? That removed any doubt for him too. Spencer was never Riley's biggest fan. Not because he hated her, but because he said she always seemed to be looking for something better, even when everything was fine. By Sunday night, the house was already for sale, and I had called my company asking for a transfer. The opening in Austin, Texas had been available for months. Suddenly, that seemed like exactly the restart I needed. Update 1. After I posted the story, everything happened very fast. I received a cash offer for the house in less than 48 hours from some investors who remodel properties in the area. It was about $25,000 less than market value. I accepted without thinking. I wanted out fast and without complications. Riley was staying at her friend Haley's house, thinking I was just being dramatic and that I would calm down when I processed what she had asked me. Haley sent me messages trying to mediate. She loves you a lot, she said. She is just afraid of choosing wrong. Can't you resolve it? But that is exactly the point. If you are afraid of choosing me, then do not choose me. I do not want to be anyone's halfway decision. The buyers wanted to close before Friday. I said yes instantly. Spencer asked for 3 days off to help me pack everything I wanted to take. We donated most of the furniture. It is a lot of work to move everything from one city to another. And honestly, I did not want memories of that life. The 4th night, I was storing boxes in a storage unit when I got a message from Riley. Can we talk? I thought a lot about everything and I want to try to fix it. There is nothing to fix, I responded. You already made your decision. I made mine. I still haven't done anything with Brendan. We have only exchanged messages. Somehow that made it worse. She was willing to blow up our engagement for someone she only exchanged messages with. Our relationship was so unimportant to her that it was worth risking everything for something that maybe was not even real. The 5th night, I was in a hotel because all my things were already packed. Spencer arrived with a case of beer and Thai food. How are you holding up? He asked. Honestly, better than I expected. I expected to feel destroyed, but what I feel is more like relief. Relief from what? Like I had been holding my breath for months without realizing it. Always trying to be enough to keep her interest. Interesting enough, stable enough, whatever enough meant. Now I do not have to ask myself that anymore. He nodded as if that made total sense. You know what Mom always said. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. On Friday morning, I signed the papers and officially became an Austinite by choice. The company had already approved my transfer. I already had a furnished apartment in Austin, and I truly felt lighter than I had in months. And here comes the ironic part. Riley and Brendan had apparently planned to stop by the house on Friday afternoon. She wanted to show him our life together or create some drama of that sort. Instead, they found the sold sign in the yard and a moving truck taking away the last batch of furniture I had donated. My phone started exploding around 6 p.m. Desperate voice notes, messages saying she had made a terrible mistake, begging me to call her back. But I had already been on the highway for hours heading south, listening to podcasts, and for the first time in a long time excited to start over. "I thought you were just trying to scare me," said one of the voice notes. "I didn't think you would leave for real. We can fix this. I choose you, Nolan. I choose us." But that was the problem. I did not want to be chosen by someone who needed to think about it. I wanted to be with someone who was certain of me the same way I was always certain of her. Spencer kept receiving calls from Riley's friends and family. Her mom called crying, asking what had happened. When he explained everything to her, she stayed silent for a good while. She asked him to wait while she— "What?" asked the mom. Finally explored her feelings for the ex-boyfriend. "Oh, my love, that boy did well to leave." Not even her own mom thought my reaction was wrong. That told me everything I needed to know about how reasonable my decision had been. By Sunday, I was already settled in my new apartment in Austin with a view of downtown and ready to start in the new territory on Monday. Spencer sent me updates all weekend. Riley showing up at his house, demanding to know where I was, crying, saying she never wanted this to happen, but it happened. She had made a series of choices that led exactly to that result, and now she was surprised by the consequences. Best of all, I found out from mutual friends that Brendan started pulling away as soon as he realized she was actually available. Seems he liked the chase more than the conquest. Classic guy who enjoys ruining other people's relationships. 2 weeks in Austin, and I already had a routine. I found a good gym, discovered incredible restaurants, started exploring the city. For the first time in months, I was not anxious about anything. I was just living. Update 2. These last few months have been crazy. Sorry for the delay in updating. Work is awesome. The Austin territory is everything I expected. I am on my way to the best sales year of my life. The city suits me much better than Chicago. More energy, more opportunities. It seems like a place where things really happen. But last Saturday, returning from a morning run, I saw someone sitting on the stairs of my building. It took me a second to realize it was Riley. She had made the long drive from Chicago to find me. I have no idea how she got my address. Maybe through work contacts. Maybe she paid someone to locate me. Either way, the dedication to show up unannounced was impressive and worrying at the same time. "We need to talk," she said, standing up when she saw me. She looked terrible. Face of someone who has not slept well in months, deep dark circles, messy hair, appearance of someone torn apart inside. "No, we do not need to. Nolan, please. I messed up. It was the biggest mistake of my life." I let her into the apartment because I did not want to have that conversation where the neighbors could hear, but I made it clear that this was not about getting back together. She looked around. It was smaller than our old house, but it had more light, more personality. "It is nice," she said, as if surprised that I could build a life without her. "What do you want, Riley?" "I want to fix this. I want us to be us again." She started to let out a huge explanation. She said she was afraid, that Brendan had put in her head that she was settling with me, that she would always wonder if she missed something if she didn't explore those feelings. Classic manipulation tactics that only worked because she wanted them to work. It lasted 2 weeks, Nolan. 2 weeks, and he had already left me completely. "You were right about everything. I knew I was right. That is why I left." She tried to explain that only after that did she realize what she had lost, that every day since I left had been horrible, that she couldn't eat well, nor sleep, nor concentrate on work. Her design business had collapsed because she couldn't focus on client projects. "I started therapy," she said. "I am working on my fear of commitment. That habit of sabotaging myself when things get too serious." "That is good. That is important," I responded. "I want to do this with you. I want us to do therapy together and rebuild what we had." But sitting there listening to her, I realized one thing. I did not want what we had. What we had was me, striving all the time to keep her interest while she kept one foot out of the relationship. That is not love. that is fear of being alone. I love you, she repeated. I always loved you. I just got confused. You love the safety I represent, I said. It is not the same. She offered everything. Moving to Austin, signing a prenup, doing whatever I wanted. She said she would leave her business in Chicago. She would start from zero here. She would prove she was serious. But the damage was already done. She had shown me that when things got real, when true commitment entered, her first instinct was to run to another person. That is not something therapy solves. That is character. I am not the same person who left Chicago anymore, I said. And you are not the person I thought I was marrying. We both learned who we really are. The conversation lasted almost 2 hours. She cried, begged, promised that everything would be different, but I did not feel anything but sadness for her. Not anger, not nostalgia, just a deep sadness for having thrown away something real for something that was never going to work. When she left, I stood looking from the balcony of my apartment. A part of me thought I was going to feel something, regret, doubt, anything, but I only felt grateful for having trusted my gut and having left at the right moment. Later I found out from Spencer that she was going around saying in Chicago that I had abandoned her, that I left without even trying to fix things, but not even her own family bought that story. Her dad reportedly said she threw away the best thing that ever happened to her in life for a fantasy. Her mom called Spencer occasionally apologizing for her daughter's behavior and asking if there was still any chance to fix everything. Nolan was perfect for her, she said. She is never going to find another man like him. But that is no longer my problem. Final update. It has been a full year since I left Chicago, and it seemed fair to close this story because many people still ask me by message how everything ended. Life in Austin has been incredible. The sales territory here is more competitive, but also much more lucrative. I am earning like 30% more than what I earned in Chicago, and the cost of living is manageable. The city suits me much better. More outdoor activities, tastier food, ambitious people without being heavy. I met someone about 6 months ago. Her name is Camille. She is a marketing director at a tech startup downtown. We met at a networking event similar to what happened with Riley. But the energy was completely different. While Riley always seemed to be acting, Camille is simply herself in any situation. She makes decisions and stands by them. She doesn't need to test options because she trusts her own choices. When I told her the story with Riley, her response was simple. Good thing she did you that favor. The difference is brutal. Being with someone who really wants to be with you, without doubts, without conditions, changes everything. I no longer ask myself if I am doing enough to maintain her interest, because she chose me on purpose and continues choosing me every day. Riley got in touch one more time, right on the day that would have been our wedding. Just a message saying she still thought of me every day and hoping I was happy. After that, I blocked her number. Some conversations do not need to happen. Through Spencer and some mutual acquaintances, I found out a bit about how her life is now. The pattern I had predicted came true exactly. She has already had several relationships since Brendan, but none last more than a few months. In Chicago, stories run fast, and when guys find out she left her boyfriend for her ex, they already see it as a giant red flag. Her design business suffered quite a bit after I left. During all that drama, she lost focus on client jobs and ended up losing big accounts. She had to take a part-time job at an agency just to pay the bills while trying to rebuild her freelance portfolio. Her relationship with her family is still kind of broken. Her parents were going to contribute a lot of money for our wedding and were very hurt by losing that cash. But more than that, they had grown fond of me during those 3 years. And having to explain to friends why their daughter canceled the engagement was very uncomfortable for them. From what Spencer told me, her dad said he was excited to have a stable, successful son-in-law. She had it all ready, he said in one of the chats with Spencer. House, good man, planned future. And she threw it all away. Why? For a guy from the past who didn't even really want her. Professionally, the story also followed her. Chicago is a relatively small community in that medium and gossip runs fast. She lost some clients when the story spread. People who work based on relationships do not really like hiring someone whose personal life shows that level of poor judgment. But the most revealing part is her love life. She has been trying for something serious for over a year, but she earned a reputation as someone who doesn't know what she wants. The guys she goes out with end up hearing the story of the engagement and decide it is not worth investing in someone who can out of nowhere decide to explore feelings with an ex. Several friends already told Spencer that in her circle they call her the one who left her boyfriend for her ex. And that kind of nickname does not go away easily in a place like Chicago, where everyone knows each other. Meanwhile, I was promoted 6 months ago to Regional Sales Director managing the Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico territory. Camille and I are talking about living together next month. Her lease ends now, and mine goes until the summer, so the timing fit perfectly. What I learned from all this is simple. When someone asks you to wait while they decide if they want you, that person already gave you the answer. The right person doesn't need to test alternatives to be certain of you. I think a lot about my dad sometimes, about how he always said actions show priorities better than any words. Riley's actions showed me that when she had to choose between our future and immediate satisfaction, she chose satisfaction without thinking much about the consequences. And that type of person is not who you build a life with. It is someone who is always going to be looking for the next exciting thing, the next possibility that might seem better than what she already has. Comment: I really hope this message resonated with you as much as it did with me, especially when it comes to the power of knowing your own worth. It is never easy to walk away from a future you planned, but sometimes that is the only way to protect your heart and your dignity. Remember that you never have to apologize for setting a boundary when you feel undervalued or treated like an option. True commitment should not feel like a guessing game or a competition where you have to prove you are enough. When someone shows you hesitation, they are giving you the clarity you need to move forward without them. Choosing your own peace might feel lonely at first, but it opens the door to the right people entering your life. We often fear the pain of letting go, yet we forget the incredible relief that comes from no longer carrying a heavy burden. Trust your instincts when things feel wrong, and have the courage to choose yourself every single time. You deserve a love that is certain, enthusiastic, and safe, so please never settle for anything less than that. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.